Welcome to Claws and Crime Chronicles, where we dive deep into the dark and enigmatic world of true crime and mystery. Today, we delve into the twisted tale of Leonarda Cianciulli, a name that would become synonymous with horror. Prepare to be both fascinated and horrified as we unravel the dark deeds of the Soapmaker of Correggio. Stay tuned as we journey into the mind of a serial killer like no other, who turned her victims into soap and tea cakes. Leonarda Cianciulli hailed from Montella, Avellino, during the era of the Kingdom of Italy. In 1917, she tied the knot with Raffaele Pansardi, a clerk at the registry office. This marriage did not sit well with her mother, who had different plans for her daughter's marital future. Cianciulli later asserted that her mother had placed a curse upon their union during that time. In 1921, the couple relocated to Lauria, Potenza, Pansardi's hometown. However, Cianciulli encountered legal trouble, leading to her imprisonment for fraud in 1927. Upon her release, the couple settled in Lacedonia, Avellino. Their life took another turn in 1930 when their residence was demolished in the Irpinia earthquake. Subsequently, they moved once more, this time to Correggio, Reggio Emilia, where Cianciulli established a modest shop. Her shop became a beloved fixture in the neighborhood, earning her great popularity and respect among the local residents. Within the course of her marriage, Cianciulli experienced a total of 17 pregnancies. Tragically, she suffered the heartache of 3 miscarriages, and an additional 10 of her children passed away during their early years. Consequently, Cianciulli became fiercely protective of her 4 surviving offspring. Her anxiety was amplified by a forewarning she had received some time prior from a fortune teller. This seer had predicted that she would marry and become a mother, but had also ominously forecasted that all of her children would meet untimely ends. There are reports that Cianciulli sought counsel from a Romani palm reader as well, who delivered an unsettling message, stating, "In your right hand, I see prison, in your left, a criminal asylum." In 1939, Cianciulli received distressing news that her beloved eldest son, Giuseppe, intended to enlist in the Royal Italian Army in anticipation of the Second World War. Her resolve to safeguard him at any expense led her to a chilling conclusion that ensuring his safety would necessitate human sacrifices. 3 of Cianciulli's female neighbors and friends had at one point or another requested her assistance because they were all lonely. They desired to flee the lonely existence in Correggio. Cianciulli's initial victim was Faustina Setti, a lifelong spinster who had sought her assistance in finding a suitable husband. Informing Setti of a prospective partner in Pola, Cianciulli emphasized the need for absolute secrecy regarding this news. Additionally, she convinced Setti to compose letters and postcards to send to her relatives and friends once she reached Pola, assuring them of her well-being. On the eve of her departure, Setti made a final visit to Cianciulli, unaware of the impending tragedy. It was during this encounter that Cianciulli ended Setti's life with an axe and concealed her remains in a closet. Subsequently, the body was dismembered into 9 parts, and the blood was collected in a basin. Cianciulli provided a chilling account of the events that followed in her official statement. "I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, which I had bought to make soap, and stirred the mixture until the pieces dissolved in a thick, dark mush that I poured into several buckets and emptied in a nearby septic tank. As for the blood in the basin, I waited until it had coagulated, dried it in the oven, ground it and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk and eggs, as well as a bit of margarine, kneading all the ingredients together. I made lots of crunchy tea cakes and served them to the ladies who came to visit, though Giuseppe and I also ate them." Additionally, according to some accounts, Cianciulli reportedly acquired Setti's 30,000 lire life savings in exchange for her services. The second victim was Clementina Soavi. Cianciulli promised her a job at a Piacenza girls' school. Similar to Seti, Soavi was convinced to compose postcards to send to friends outlining her ambitions, but this time from Correggio. Soavi visited Cianciulli before she left, just like Seti did. She was also given poisoned wine, and an axe was used to murder her. The crime was committed on September 5, 1940. The same treatment was applied to Soavi's body as it was to Seti's, and Cianciulli is alleged to have taken 3,000 lire from her second victim. Leonarda turned her body into bar soap, which she gifted to neighbors and acquaintances. She also said, after her capture, that her friend had been much sweeter in the cakes than the others. The widow Virginia Cacioppo, a former soprano rumored to have performed at La Scala, was Cianciulli's third and last victim. Cianciulli claimed to have secured employment for her in Florence as the secretary for an unidentified impresario. She was told, like the other two women, not to inform anyone where she was going. Cacioppo concurred and paid Cianciulli a farewell visit on September 30, 1940. The murder followed the same pattern as the first two. Cacioppo's body, in contrast to the prior two victims, was melted down to manufacture soap. In accordance with Cianciulli's assertion, she ended up in the pot, like the other two. Her flesh was fat and white. When it had melted, I added a bottle of cologne, and after a long time on the boil I was able to make some most acceptable creamy soap. I gave bars to neighbors and acquaintances. The cakes, too, were better. That woman was really sweet. Cianciulli reportedly received 50,000 lire, a variety of diamonds, and public bonds, from Cacioppo. Her clothing and shoes of the victims were even sold by Cianciulli. Soon, Albertina Fanti, Cacioppo's sister-in-law, became suspicious of her unexpected absence because she had last seen her entering Cianciulli's residence. She confided her worries to the Reggio Emilia police superintendent. The authorities then launched an inquiry and found that all the postcards and letters were dropped at the post office by Giuseppe Pansardi. They came to the conclusion that Giuseppe was responsible for the killings. Only then that Cianciulli finally admitted to the crimes. She admitted to the killings and gave extensive explanations of everything she had done to exonerate her son. Among the explanations was that Leonarda had been collecting magical and supernatural books from all over Italy and had one of the biggest collections in Italy at the time. The more she studied magic, the more she believed that her mother's curse upon her existed, and the more driven she was to end it. She didn't want to risk Giuseppe dying during the war. So, she starts studying more magic because there were still a couple of months before he had to go into the army. She delved into alchemy, which had one important rule, that in order to obtain something, you have to sacrifice something in return. So she knew that in order to save her son's life, she had to sacrifice another life. Her husband, Raphael, tried to support her while she's in jail, but he was jobless and depressed. All of their kids left home and changed their names. Raphael passed away before trial started for Leonarda. Giuseppe went to war before her trial without even saying goodbye to her. In 1946, at the murder trial in Reggio Emilia, Cianciulli seemed like she had lost it. She showed no signs of repentance and even made jokes about the murder and corrected the official account when she was being questioned. They found her guilty and insane and was sentenced to 30 years in prison and 3 years in mental asylum, just like what the fortune teller's reading. Cianciulli did very well in prison. She read poems and gave advice. She also worked in the kitchen and baked. Everyone loved her baked goods in prison, as she was a very good baker. She even wrote a 700-page memoir, An Embittered Soul's Confession, which included recipes that a lot of famous Italian bakeries still reference in baking. On October 15, 1970, at the Pozzuoli Women's Criminal Asylum, she passed away from cerebral apoplexy 1 year before she was to be released. Due to the fact that all of her children changed their names, nothing is known about what happened to them. Giuseppe joined the service and was stationed overseas, according to records. Although the Italian army was captured in the region where he was stationed and taken as prisoners of war, there is no trace of him on the list. Consequently, many believe that he perished in battle. The protection spell ultimately had little effect. In the shadow of this macabre tale, we reflect on the fragile boundary between sanity and madness, the enduring allure of true crime stories, and the chilling fact that the human capacity for evil knows no bounds. Leonarda Cianciulli's name will forever be etched in the annals of infamy, a testament to the horrors that can lurk behind even the most ordinary facades. As we draw the curtain on the harrowing story of Leonarda Cianciulli, the soapmaker of Correggio, we're left with a chilling reminder of the depths human darkness can reach. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's mysteries. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment as we continue to unearth the enigmatic stories that have shaped our world. Until the next episode, this is Kat from Claws and Crime Chronicles, signing off.